Hello friends, George here. Welcome to my channel. Today I will show you how you can use Blender 3.5 to render a 3D object like this TIE fighter on a classic 8-bit computer. So let's dive in. First of all, we need a 3D model. I can recommend this site here, Sketchfab. So let's search for a suitable model. We type in Starwars TIE. So let's take a look at this model here and let's see if this is suitable for our purpose. The first thing we have to check out is the topology of the model. And for this I click on this icon here and on the wireframe, and you can see that this model is very big. It has a very dense topology. So scaled down on the screen resolution of an old 8-bit, this won't look good. The Commodore 64, for example, has a screen resolution of 320 by 200, and the TIE fighter model was definitely too meshy for it. So let's try this model here. So it looks very low poly. It has about 428 vertices, which is good. So let's check out the topology. We click on wireframe, and this here is too low poly. So this is the other extreme, which we also don't want. Let's try to find another model like this here. And we will check out the topology again, model inspector and then wireframe, and this here looks okay. This looks very good. The side panels of the TIE fighter have exactly the topology I want. The body, this sphere in the middle, is a little too meshy, but we can fix this. I will show you later how. So the decision is made. We will use this model here. So let's download it. So we go to this download link here and take a look at the license. The author must be credited. I copy the credit informations. So we need the object file, and we get a nice tie.zip file. So this was our first step. Our next step is to load the object file, which we downloaded, into Blender. Let's close the emulator first. We use Blender 3.5.1. This is the last version. And when you start Blender, it comes always with this default cube. We will delete this. With the delete key, you can delete the cube. Now we go to the import menu under file import, and we select the WAV file object and go to the file we downloaded. You have to unzip the file, of course. And here is our TIE fighter. On the bottom right, you can see the mouse buttons I press to move the object around. Make sure that you are in the layout tab. Now we switch from the object mode into the edit mode. In this mode you can change the model and manipulate it. We press A to select all lines, all edges. The first thing I usually do is to clean up the model a little. So I go to clean up and then delete loose. This will delete all vertices which are not connected to the model and reduces the overall size. In the next step, we will simplify the model by converting the triangles into rectangles or quads, like this, so that we loosen up a little the density of the model. Maybe you have noticed some of the triangles on the cockpit have become quads. The result is not bad, but we can enhance it a little more. I select two faces, and with the F key I can merge them into one, like this. I will repeat this with the rest of the window segments. So I hold the Shift key and then I select with the right mouse button and then I press F. So this is the middle part and the last merge, and now we have a nice TIE Fighter cockpit window. I think that's enough for the optimizations. Now we have to make sure that we have a plugin activated. You type SVG and we need the import export and the renderer plugin for SVG files. So now we are able to export SVG files. So let us define the resolution of the SVG file according to the machine we will use later. I will use a Commodore Plus 4, which has a resolution of 320 per 200 pixels. Make sure that the percentage is on 100%. Now we select the export path, the path where our SVG file will be created. Next we activate our Freestyle SVG plugin. These two checkboxes must be enabled. Our next step is to tell the plugin that we want to export all the edges of our model. So we activate this edge mark option. Now we select all faces with the A key and go to Edges, mark Freestyle Edge. You notice that the color of the edges changed and they became green. This means that Blender considers these edges for export. So now we go into camera mode, we press the numpad 0 key, and by doing this we can look through the camera. Next press the N key, which opens this tab here, and click on camera to view. This enables us to position the TIE Fighter in front of the camera. So you can see which, and at the bottom right, which keys and mouse buttons I use for this. Let's try to find a nice view like this here. Let's scale the model a little with the S key to fill out the screen as good as possible. I think I will go with this view here, which I like. Now we press the F12 key, which renders our model, and look closely. We have these black lines laid over the render, which means that the SVG plugin has exported our SVG file. Let's take a close look. First we give it a better name. If you double click on the file, the Internet Explorer will open, and here we are. That's our TIE Fighter as SVG. This will be our basis for the conversion. And for the conversion you need my converter, which you can download on my blog. I will put the link in the description. Click on this link here, George SVG to seq.zip. You will need a Windows system and .NET 4.8 installed to run this small program. This is the converter, a small C# program that I wrote. You can select different systems. We will go for the Commodore 264, which includes the Plus 4 and the C16, and we select the SVG file. SVG files are XML files, as you can see on the left side, and this path tags contain the coordinates of our line segments, which will be drawn later. In the next step, we display our SVG file in a preview window. When I press the Convert SVG button, the model appears. If you want, you can scale the model up or down at your liking. So this is now the half of the size. You can move the model around by typing in the values in the X-pos or Y-pos text fields, but we will leave the model in the original size. When I press the Save SEQ File button, the SEQ file is generated, and this file is the input file for our basic program, which will be displayed in a moment. Now I press Save, the SEQ file is created, and this 5 lines of basic code are displayed. So if your target system can read sequential files and has a high-res graphic mode, you can very easily convert this 5 line of basic code to your basic dialect and load the file. We open the emulator and copy the basic code to the window. Now we use a special mode of this emulator, an IEC performance level mode, in which you are able to load the SEQ file which we created from a directory on the hard disk. This saves us the step of making an empty disk image and copying the SEQ file on the disk, mounting the disk and reading from the disk. Just convenience. And as you can see here, the basic program opened our SEQ file and reads the line data and displays it in real time on the display in high-res mode. And I think the result is really beautiful. What I really like about this SVG scalable vector graphics method is that you can actually see the machine drawing the model. This was a nice first try, but let us try another view, like this here maybe. Yeah, this is okay. The lines are horizontal here. Center it a little. And we press F12 and we get another SVG file. This here. We rename it. Always rename the files because Blender will overwrite them in the next try. And we will load it into our converter. Convert. And press the Save SEQ file button. Save it to the target directory, which the emulator can read. Our converter will generate the basic code. Opening sequential files can be tricky sometimes on these old machines. In this case, I have to delete the SEQ suffix for the emulator, but when I load it on a real machine, I have to leave the SEQ suffix. So have in mind that you have to experiment a little. These are old machines and things do not always work as supposed. You can open the SVG file in a text editor, and sometimes it's necessary to change the end of line tag. There are 3 formats: a Windows format, Unix format and Apple format. You have to play around with it when you are going to port this basic code to your system. And here is our TIE Fighter on the Commodore Plus 4. I hope this tutorial was a little helpful for you if you like this kind of stuff. So thank you for watching. If you have questions, feel free to ask in the comments section. And I wish you a nice day. See you in the next one. Bye bye.